Welcome to episode 3 on Storyteller Stitchery YouTube channel. I'm Melissa and I'm the dyer behind Storyteller Stitchery. This is a pretty new channel, like I said, episode 3, so we're only a couple in. Usually I share things like projects that I've been working on, which could be knitting or spinning, or updates from the shop, kind of behind the scenes, things like that. But today I wanted to share about a spinning retreat that I've just been on this week. So I'm going to kind of get into what the equipment and the things that I took with me, what I used, what I didn't use, a little bit about what we did on the retreat. I'm looking around, I've got lots of things scattered around me that I want to share with you guys. And it was my first ever spinning retreat, so I wasn't sure what to pack, wasn't too sure what to expect. And so for anybody else who's thinking about, taking part in something like this, I thought I'd share my experiences. And I'm gonna do a second video probably for next week, where I get into each of the different breeds of sheep that we explored and looked at and learned about, and I'm going to share a little bit more in that video. So this one is really about the location, the amazing travel experience to get there, and then the equipment and the things that I used, as well as a couple of things that I bought while I was there. I thought I'd share that too. So starting out, I flew from Phoenix, took a flight, grabbed a rental car, and then I had I think it was about a 2-hour drive to the ferry, and then took this amazing ferry ride. So I'm going to drop some footage in and show you. It was an absolutely gorgeous sunny day, and it felt absolutely magical. It was the most amazing start to the retreat. I did some knitting. I spent part of the time in the car, because obviously I took the rental car, drove onto the ferry, so I spent part of the time with the window down, enjoying the breeze and knitting, and some of the time I went exploring on the ferry. And I think it was just over a 2-hour ferry ride. We'd stopped at a couple of different islands, and then so I think I got there about maybe 3:30 in the afternoon, and then it was a short drive from the ferry to the lodge where the retreat was being held. So I got checked in, and it was just the most beautiful location. I realized that I actually forgot to take any footage, so I should also say my intention was to record this video this morning from the lodge, from my hotel room, and get it uploaded today. And checkout was 11, but I thought I had booked to stay an extra day, checkout tomorrow, so I had all day to kind of, the retreat finished yesterday. We had breakfast this morning, and then everybody kind of went on their own separate directions. Turns out I did not book the extra night. I don't know how this happened, because I was absolutely sure that I had. I really don't know what I did and how I messed that up, but I did not book tonight. So found that out at 10 a.m. so I had a quick scramble quick pack to be out by 11, but which was not that much of a problem. I just kind of threw stuff in the rental car. And then while I was on the ferry, booked this random hotel on the way down to the airport. So it's a lovely hotel, but by random I just mean kind of chose a random location that was, you know, on the way, and booked in here. So it's now, let's see, it's like 5:30 p.m. so I'm next to the window, and there's a lot of light coming in, so hopefully it'll stay light enough through the video. But yeah, so this is not the lodge. This is another hotel, but I want to put some footage in of the lodge. It was really stunning, just a beautiful location over the lakes. My room had a lovely fireplace and, you know, a little desk and two rocking chairs in there, and it was really just relaxing. And it had big patio doors that opened onto a patio which was straight over the lake. So I did spend a little bit of time there knitting this morning before I realized that I needed to check out today, when I thought I had the whole day. And it was just lovely and tranquil. We saw a fox one evening. We were having dinner in the dining room, and there's a little fox lakeside, so that felt really special to see him as well. Anyway, so yeah, so that was my adventures in travel. And then tomorrow I'll just drive the rest, you know, to the airport and fly home. But back to the spinning retreat. So I wanted to share some of the equipment that I took with me. Like I said, it was my first ever retreat, and so I wasn't too sure what to take. I wasn't too sure what I would need, and it was also, I was flying, so like, you know, limited luggage space. There was a good mix of people there who had driven and who'd flown. A lot of people did have kind of smaller wheels that they packed in a suitcase, and, you know, just checked us with their luggage, and everything made it fine and no issues. I chose to bring my e-spinner because it's much smaller and more portable, and there were, I'm gonna say, at least 5 of us using e-spinners, and then there were probably 20 or so, maybe just over 20 of us in total. No, I think there were 6 of us, because the instructor also had an e-spinner, so I think there were 6 of us that had e-spinners. So the majority did have their wheel. So let me show you first. I'll move some things around, got things gathered around me. All right, so this is actually a camera bag. I just picked it up. It was fairly inexpensive. I think it was like $40 or something, but it has a strap on the back, so you can hook it onto, like, you know, your hand luggage, like if you have a wheel-on case or something like that, and it just opens like this. And then everything is just nicely packed inside to keep it completely, you know, safe and organized. I have this little zippy pouch, and in here I keep, like, you know, the orifice reducer, some kind of maintenance supplies that came with the wheel, and some extra yarn for, you know, to tie onto the bobbins for leads, and some scissors, just some little essentials. And then my e-spinner. Maybe in the next video when I share the different breeds of sheep that we studied and the spinning, I'll share this one in a little bit more detail when I'm at home and not in a hotel trying to record and beat daylight disappearing. But let's see, I'll just show you how portable how kind of small it is. So this is the body, and the flyer sits on top here. So it's really lightweight. It does have inside of it a battery pack, which I charged before I went. I spun with it all week and I've not had to charge it the whole time I've been there. And it still has 3 out of 5. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see that on camera, but it still has more than half of its charge after a full week of spinning each morning on it. So very happy with that purchase. So yeah, so that is my e-spinner. Hold up, because I'm getting a little bit tangled. There we go. So I'll share this more, like I say, in the next video. But obviously, crucial piece of equipment at a spinning retreat is something to spin with. One person did have a drop spindle, and actually that was her first time spinning. She's never done it before, so it was brand new to her. But yeah, she was using the drop spindle and and what was so lovely is like the whole group were just so welcoming, so friendly, like very, very inclusionary. Is that a word? Inclusive? They made you feel included right from the get-go, and were, you know, very encouraging of if you want to try their wheels, and kind of sharing knowledge and a lot of experienced spinners in the room, and then some new folks as well. So and even just kind of watching how people do things, like watching how they prepare the fiber and how they spin, and they very much, you know, it very much had a feeling of like having fun. And this was down to the instructor as well, like Deb, who was leading it. She obviously has a passion for sheep and fiber and the different breeds and spinning, and very much leads with that excitement, but with this extensive knowledge. But it's never a case of you know, you're doing that wrong, or you should do it differently, or this is how you should do things. None of that, because, you know, there's different ways to do things, and people do things, and that's okay. Like, there isn't one way to do things. So it felt like, you know, because going in as a new, like my first ever spinning retreat, I think if you know, there's a time I maybe would have been nervous, like I didn't know enough, or that I, you know, was gonna do things wrong, but there was not a hint of that kind of environment. It was just really positive, really friendly, really fun, just sharing knowledge, and yeah, it was wonderful. So anyway, spinning wheel or drop spindle, or whatever you want to take. All right, so extra bobbins. I did take my entire, so this has my oh, well, they've all fallen out, but this has my range of circular needles. And so in case I wanted to like knit with the yarn I was spinning to see how it knits up, I wasn't sure what I would want to do, so I brought all of my needles. Didn't actually use them at all, but I think I would still bring them again next time, because even though I didn't use them this time, I think it would be fun to also try knitting. And there were samples, like swatches of the different fibers that we were spinning, kind of laid out for everybody to see, and I'll try and drop a image in there. So, but obviously that everybody spins differently, you know, different weights, different. So it was lovely to kind of see and feel the fiber spun into yarn and then knitted into a swatch. But I think, like I say, I would still take my needles next time in case I want to knit something. I also brought like in a little pouch. These are one of the looms that I make at Storyteller Stitchery. So I packed the loom and like all of the hand tools in case I wanted to like try, same as the needles, right, in case I wanted to try weaving some of the yarn that I had spun. Again, I didn't use that, I just was spinning yarn and just playing with the fibre, and so I didn't use it, but I do think I would still take it again next time. I think I overpacked this time, but I overpacked more in clothes because I thought I was, you know, coming from the desert, I was going to be freezing cold, which I wasn't. So I would probably pack a little bit less clothes, but I would pack the needles and the loom just to have the option to play around with the yarn that I spin. So I also packed a niddy nuddy, which I definitely did not need, especially one this big. If I was to pack one next time, I would pack just a little one, you know, that's like half this size. But I didn't use, because I was spinning smaller amounts of fibre, so I'll show you in a little bit. But these are like some of the yarn that I spun. But I just was taking it off the wheel by just kind of wrapping it, you know, around my elbow and my hand and kind of putting it into the skein that way, and then, you know, twisting it into the mini skeins. So because I was spinning small amounts of fibre, I didn't need a niddy noddy. But if, like I say, if you have a small one, and some people were using the small ones and winding off using that, so it's just personal preference. I just, you know, just kind of easy to do it that way and wind it on your arm, so that's what I was doing. You do need a bag to put all of your things in, to carry kind of, well, just to keep things contained even when you're sitting at your desk. So I'm sitting in your chair, so obviously it's helpful to carry to and from your room, but some folks just left things, you know, in baskets and bags, but something to just kind of corral all of your things by your seat. So I took my my New York Sheep and Wool Festival bag, because it's a huge size and it has these two giant pockets on the back, and it has this big pocket inside, and it just holds everything so nicely. It's just massive. So this worked out really well for me, but it was just a bag that I'd got when I went to Rhinebeck in October, I think. But anything will do. Like I said, some people that drove didn't have to worry about things that kind of would pack flat, and so they had beautiful big baskets and things like that. And then I have, so this I picked up when we were at Vogue Knitting Live, and I'd gone to the library, and it says, "I've always imagined that paradise will be a kind of library," by Jorge Luis Borges. Oh God, I don't know, I probably said that wrong. Anyway, so in here, didn't use any of this stuff. I brought my little Chagu needles, some lotion. This is just kind of a general knitting kit that I have. This is one of the spinning multi-tools that I make and sell in Storyteller Stitchery. And one of the rulers for Storyteller Stitchery Society. So this one's not available in the store. This one's exclusive to Society members, but it's just a handy little ruler. Measuring tape, pen, and some extra yarn, and a lip balm, and darning needles, little pair of scissors with a little cap on. This is one of the little acorns that we sell in Storyteller Stitchery, and it has these this one, I've changed actually. I used to do the coloured, these are just the new ones. I used to do the coloured stitch markers, but I decided to give it a try with these metal ones. So I took this, and this was all thinking that I was going to be casting on and knitting and, you know, trying to knit some of the yarn that I was making to see what it looked like. And I think I will do that at home, like when I get home, but I just didn't do it on the trip. Oh, and then the other thing is I just have this little kind of ring with mini crochet hooks, and I use this for knitting, like if I drop a stitch, or I mean basically that's why, if I drop a stitch is the main use for it. So this is just my, you know, standard kind of keep it in my knitting bag, so I took all of that with me. Didn't use it at all. But I like to, I'd rather have it and not use it than wish I'd brought it. So, all right, what else? Oh, so also notebook. This, I use this to just make notes through the event, just new techniques, new information, resources that I wanted to try and remember, things like that. I just, you know, I kept it with me in the bag, and then I would just grab it and make quick notes as people were talking. And it's nice having the loop with the pen on the side, because if I was busy spinning and you know, heard something and wanted to, it was nice to just be able to grab the book, the pen's right there, make a quick note. Another thing, so I did take this, which is a Lazy Kate. So this just whoop, flips like this, and then the one with the little foot on it goes in the back, and then it will sit on the floor like this, resting on here and here, and then you can put these in the front and put your bobbins on. So if you're going to ply, you know, you would have your bobbins on the floor, and then you can ply off here. And I got this when we were at Rhinebeck at the New York Sheep and Wool Festival, and it is by, I think it's Athena Spinning. I'll put a link in the description. But it's just lovely. It's just this wooden, and they kind of do it just sort of a little bit owl shaped, and then with the legs in the back, so it means it doesn't take up much space. It's nice and lightweight. So I took that. I didn't end up using it. I just was kind of doing the, you know, the bracelet technique, which I forgot what that's called. I'll see if I can look it up. Anyway, you know, you can wrap it and then from kind of like as a bracelet, and then ply directly like that. So because I was doing, again, small amounts of fiber or small amounts of yarn, small lengths, that was easy to do. So so I didn't use this, but if I was going to spin anything more than the smaller samples that I did, then I would definitely want this. So because it's lightweight and small, I would absolutely pack it again, because it's another one of those things that I'd rather have and not use than wish I had it. All right, so I also took, which was not necessary, I brought my giant fleece and fiber source book, which is a fabulous resource if you want to learn about different breeds and the characteristics of the different, you know, different breeds and fiber, and there's so much information. It's wonderful, and if you don't have it and you're interested in learning more about breeds, this is great. The other option, and the reason I didn't need it, is because we actually got, for each of the breeds that we studied, we got these lovely little booklets, which are just absolutely packed with information, like really packed. So lots of photographs and maps, just really, really a ton of information. And so these are produced by Deborah Robson, and I'm going to put a link. I know she sells them on Etsy and somewhere else that I'm going to find. I'm going to find it where and link them. But she sells them as PDFs, so you can buy the PDF for the breed that you're interested in learning some more about, and it is just a ton of information, just so much. And then on the, you know, just even so many resources. I mean, that's 2 pages of resources just on this one breed, the Herdwick. So much information. She has phenomenal knowledge and is all about like sharing that with people. So anyway, highly recommend these. So I will put the link in the description, and then you can go check them out and learn a little bit more about the breeds that you're interested in and kind of add to them over time. Another thing, which I actually got this at the retreat, I didn't take one, and I wish I'd known to take one, is just a cloth, just old, you know, and basically it's just to sit in your lap. So as you're like combing and preparing the fiber, if there's like dust or VM, which is vegetable matter, that's kind of coming out of the fleece, it lands in the cloth, and so it just kind of keeps it a little bit more contained, keeps your clothes cleaner, and then you can kind of go shake it off outside or in the trash can or something. So yeah, I got this at the retreat, and I also did not take any hand cards, and there were like a variety there to use, and so I used my neighbor Dana very kindly let me use hers and shared, and then also Deb, the instructor, brought a variety of different types of tools, like mini combs and like the biking combs, and so I was able to use them, and again, everybody was just so sharing with everything that they had, which was lovely. So next time though, I would like to have my own set to take, even though they're fine packed. I would not take them in hand luggage. Definitely check them in your case if you're flying, because they're sharp and intense. But yeah, I'm gonna get some to take with me next time. All right, where are we? So next video, I'm going to talk more about the fiber, the different breeds, you know, some of the interesting things. But just to kind of show you, like, we would get a bag of fiber, and there'd be, for each breed, there were multiple. And actually on day one, I forgot off the top of my head, but it was something like 9 different types of, or 9 different preparations of the same fiber. So we studied bond, and some of it was the same fiber that had been prepared by different mills. So that was fabulous to be able to like look at the same fiber and in different ways. So some of it was in roving, some of it was, you know, still in kind of the fleece form, like washed but not carded. And then, like I say, some of it was in roving that had been prepared at the mill. So I'll get into all of that much more in the next video, but just to kind of show you, so we've got fiber like this. So this one is Herdwick. It's from a farm in Cumbria. It's adult Herdwick. And then these 2 skeins I spun from that fiber. This one was hand carded into Rolags, and this one was spun from the Cloud. And this one's actually my favorite because it has, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but it has a lot of halo to it. So Herdwick's a very toothy, like woolly wool. So anyway, but this one is my favorite of the two, but prepared differently. So anyway, I'll talk about much more about that in the next video. Oh, and then the other thing that you should take is some knitting. So by the evening, we would kind of gather on an evening after dinner, and some people were still spinning, but I tended to knit because I'd been spinning through the day, and it's just lovely to, we had some movies that we watched on a big projector screen, so learning about Beatrix Potter. The day before, the night before we studied the Herdwicks, we watched a video about Beatrix Potter, which was wonderful, because some of you might know I have a Beatrix Potter collection because I'm a huge fan, and who isn't? But she kind of later in life had moved to the Lake District and kept Herdwick sheep and did a lot for conservation. She was involved in kind of the initial formation of the National Trust and bought a lot of property around the Lake District that she donated, that then became National Trust land. So just a fascinating woman who did a lot for conservation and for sheep, and for the Herdwick breed in particular. So yeah, so anyway, we watched some videos. So having knitting for times when you just wanted to, just sit and looking out over the lake and just sitting in the great room with everybody chatting, and it was lovely. But knitters like to have something to do with our hands rather than just sitting there. So yeah, so anyway, I've been working on my sweater, which I'd shared previously in I don't think I shared it in episode 2 because I hadn't made much progress, so I think it was episode 1 was the last time. But yeah, it's I got past the v-neck and past the armhole, let's see, right there, and joined, and now I'm just at the point of knitting in the round for the body. So all right, so now I wanted to share some of the things that I bought. So one of the things was this is actually a pound of Suffolk fleece. And so we went to a farm, the Shepherd family farm, and Angie was at the retreat, who owns the farm, with her family. And so we went they very kindly let us go and have a little tour around and meet the sheep. Right, they have Suffolk and Shetlands. Beautiful sheep, beautiful farm, lovely daffodils. It was really a treat to get to walk around. So I did buy a pound of the Suffolk fleece. And what Deb had said is that the Suffolk, it acts like superwash even when it's not superwash, meaning you can, so for example, you could spin it, make a pair of socks, throw them in the washing machine, and they would not felt or shrink, even though they're not superwash processed. They kind of act in that way, so that's really cool. So I want to explore that a little bit more, because I would love to move away from having those characteristics of superwash, but without the processing that needs to go into it, just from the natural fiber. So anyway, it is raw, meaning unwashed. When I get home, I will wash it, and there's some VM in there, and prepare it, card it, spin it. So that'll be a lot of fun. All right, I also went to Griffin Bay Bookstore on my way to the ferry this morning, and look what I got. Oh, I got this beautiful book. It's called The Storyteller's Handbook. And what's so special about it, aside from, okay, let me show you first. I'll just do a little flip through. So it's all of these gorgeous images and illustrations. And the idea is that, every time you open the book and read it, it's a different story, because you're using your imagination when you look at it. Isn't that incredible? You're using your imagination and thinking of stories, and it's the most beautiful illustrations. The author is Elise Hurst, with a foreword by Neil Gaiman. So I was looking around the bookstore, and I had to get this. It's just beautiful. It really is absolutely stunning. Look at that. So, and it was a lovely bookstore, really pretty. All right, I also got from Inspired Earth, and they are on San Juan Island. I got some island basil chai tea and island basil chai chocolate. So these are going to be gifts, actually. So my daughter's a big tea fan. She's 13 and loves tea, loves it. So she'll be happy with that. And I just thought the basil chai was like a little bit different. Oh, basil if you're American, basil if you're British. And then the chocolate is for my husband. So anyway, I think they'll like those. And they had samples, and I tried that. They were absolutely delicious. Really, really delicious. So I'm excited to give them. And then earlier today, I got the ferry back to the mainland. And as part of the group, part of the retreat, we went to, I'm probably gonna say this wrong too, Skagit Woolen Works. I think it's Skagit Woolen Works. I heard it said, but now I'm second guessing how you say it. But I'm gonna put the link in the description, so if I'm saying it wrong, we'll just pretend that's the British accent for how you say it, even though that's not at all the case. That's just me saying it wrong if it's wrong. But anyway, this fantastic mill. I was so impressed, really. Like, okay, so sorry, I was getting carried away there with thinking about it. So there's a beautiful mill, and so you go in, and because we were part of the group, we were able to go back into the mill itself and have a tour, which was so wonderful of them to open it up and let us go back there and see it. So they have this giant carder, which kind of operates like a drum carder, except it has like multiple, I think it was 6 wheels that the fiber will pass through. So they feed it in one end, and then it passes through 6 sets of rollers that each act like a drum carder. So then the fiber that comes out of the other end is like beautifully prepared and carded in kind of a giant bat, but very thin. And then they can kind of put it on this big roller and decide how thick they want to make the bat, depending on how many times it gets added on. From there, they can prepare it into roving, and from the roving, they can put it through the pin draft machine, so it would make a really fine pin drafted roving, and then from there they can actually spin it on the machinery to spin the yarn, which they've been open for a few years, but they just bought the spinning equipment, and I think they said February that was added, so that part of it's relatively new, but it was just this absolutely beautiful mill. So this mill is like a resource for local farmers, that they can create roving, and they can create yarn and sell it on. And I saw the yarn that they're producing. It's absolutely beautiful. I was really, really impressed. But the other thing that was super impressive is like the other equipment that they have is a felting machine, so they can take the wool and felt it into batting for quilters. So for anybody who quilts, that you prepare the quilt top, you sew the quilt top, and then you kind of sandwich together the quilt top, the batting, which is this, the squishy that's not a technical term, but the fiber that goes in the middle of the quilt that gives it the warmth and makes it soft, and then the backing, and then you quilt those together by however you decide to stitch it. Sometimes it's a long. I've made quilts and I would like to get into it more, but I'm definitely not an experienced quilter, so I'm talking like I am. I'm not, but I have made some. Anyway, so sometimes it's long arm quilted, or sometimes it's on a machine, like however you want to do it. But anyway, the point is they have the equipment to make, and I saw they had one in the store, absolutely beautiful, and like what a wonderful, like wool is just this incredible material, and the qualities of it, like it is just, we're in a world unfortunately where there's a lot of plastics in use, and plastic has its place, I know, like I'm not, but the more we can move away from that into using this natural resource that is like naturally antimicrobial and temperature regulating, and it's just wonderful. Anyway, so they take fiber and make that, as well as the yarn and the roving. They also have a pellet machine, so then any of the wool that is not of the quality to be used in the yarn and the fiber and the other things that they make, so that's just inevitable that there's going to be some waste and some kind of that you would want to kind of, through the washing and the preparing and the carding, that you would kind of take the lower quality stuff out. So they'll make pallets with them, and then the pallets go into, you can put them in your garden, and they act as a fertilizer, and they act as mulch, and they help to maintain moisture in the ground. So they're using like every part of the wool that comes in, but from the pellets to the, like I say, the batting, to the roving and the yarn. I was just super impressed, and they're just offering a service there that I know that there's different small mills around the country, and they each offer different things, but they said that they're really focusing on like the local area and offering a service there. So anyway, it was wonderful. It was wonderful. So what I got from them is this lovely roving. It's Romney and Finn. The color is Natural Humbug, and each of these are 2 ounces, so I got 2. And yeah, it's saying Source Carnation. I'm not sure if that's the farm or the name of the sheep, but anyway, so I got these 2 roving, and so I'm excited to spin them up and see what they look like. And they're lovely and so, because they're Romney and Finn, like they're lovely and soft. Yeah, I'm very excited for that. And I also got this wool mist. So this is rosemary, lavender and cedar essential oil, and you can spray it on wool dryer balls to gently scent your laundry, or it says onto your pillows for soothing rest, or help deter pests by using on your fibre and yarn stash, which is how I plan to use it. So it's lovely. Rosemary, lavender and cedar. They had 2 different sizes. I went for the 4 ounce. They also had, I think it was a 2 ounce, but I decided to just go for the bigger bottle. So yeah, so Skagit, I think Skagit Woolen Works. Highly recommend. So I will put their, like I said, their website in the description. And I think that is everything. Yeah, I think that's everything. So thank you so much for watching. If you stuck with me this long, if you have any questions, let me know. I guess the only other thing I would say is, for anybody who is interested in doing a retreat, like a spinning retreat or a knitting retreat or anything like that, like I didn't know anybody at all when I went. And you know, it was a little bit of a journey to get there, but it was just fantastic. Like, such a good week. I learned so much. It was really relaxing, and just being around other people who are also interested in fiber arts and spinning and sheep, and just connecting with other people, and everything I learned, it was amazing. So anyway, if you are nervous about going on something like that because you don't know anybody, I would just say do it, because I didn't feel uncomfortable or awkward at all. And a lot of the folks in that group have been going for a very long time. Like, they go twice a year on this particular event and have been doing for, 12 or 14 years for some of them. So a lot of them have been going for a really long time, but I didn't feel like I was, intruding into other people's space at all. They were very, very welcoming, and I think this is true of most fiber artists, and they want to share their knowledge, and they are excited by new folks, and so if you're new to spinning, like, they're excited by new folks getting involved, and they want to encourage that. So yeah, if you're looking at an event, it doesn't even have to be a retreat, right? It could be something local, but there's just, I learned to spin. I kind of taught myself to spin. Actually, that's not true. I did take a class. I took a class back in 2007, I think, but since then I've just kind of spun on my own, because guild meetings are, midweek, middle of the day, and so when you're working full time, I couldn't do it, and there's a lot of us in that boat, and so I've always just kind of done it myself at home and not really known anybody else who spins or knits. And so it just is wonderful though to be around other people and see how they're doing it and ask questions and you know, just learn more that way. So even if it's not a retreat, if there's a group that meets in your area or something like that, just like I say, give it a try. Don't feel nervous if you don't know anybody, just go along anyway, and hopefully it's worth it. And if it's not, you don't have to go back. You know, I'm sure not every group is that way, but it's just a wonderful experience to meet other people who have the same interests and learn from them. So yeah, anyway, all right, so we are at 50 minutes, which is a lot of me rambling. I didn't intend to go that long. Hopefully it anyway, thank you for watching. If you have any questions about the retreat or spinning, or you know, I don't know, any questions at all, let me know. Add a comment below, and if you have any questions on the resources, but otherwise check out the description. I'm going to put links and things in there, and I will be back next week with another video, probably talking about, I'm definitely going to do a video about the different breeds that we studied and the fiber. I'm planning on doing that for next week. If it's not, it'll be coming up soon. So all right, thank you everybody.